We'll return to Wild in the Streets.
Now 19 presents the following short feature for your enjoyment.
I believe a movie is a collective effort. No one person makes a picture. But in the end, what goes up there on screen is the director's vision. And I wanted this film to be my vision.
What we're going to be doing today is a scene that takes place in a nightclub in 1968, when the main character, JoJo Dancer, is a stand-up comic, and you guys will all be the audience.
JoJo Dancer is about 4 decades in a man's life as an entertainer. His growth, his fame, his denial, his rebirth. It is not a film that one can articulate as much as it has to be felt by an audience. If I succeed in that, then the movie succeeds. If not, all the explanation in the world won't help.
It's about a performer. It's about someone that got involved with Hollywood. It's about fame and fortune. It's about emotions. It's about relationships.
JoJo Dancer is a story of a man who, through a series of events in his life, does what very few of us get a chance to do, and that is to, I guess, be reborn and really deal with the fact that we all are vulnerable, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, we all have disappointments, but we don't have to beat ourselves up over it.
This way?
Is that all right? No, the camera's here.
Like this? Yeah.
If he's coming off like this, to the 2 shot.
2 shots, right?
You learn from everybody. It's not just what people say sometimes. I mean, they'd rather not hurt your feelings. So it's what they don't say. It got so I could read the faces behind the camera. And I know we'd missed that last take, or else it worked. If the feeling isn't there, you can't cop out. I mean, you have to try everything until it feels right. There's a lot you can fix in the editing room. But if it's not on film to begin with, you're in trouble.
There's definitely a unity between content and form when it applies to motion pictures, because one does not work without the other. And we're adhering to that rule.
The 2 jobs take a different kind of energy, actor, director. There were times when I was dead on my feet as an actor, but the other half of me, the director, was ready to go all night.
I was very impressed with his direction, certain points that he gave me about my character that I didn't quite have a fix on, and he helped me a lot with that. I really can't be more specific because it's, you know, it's like smoke, you know, it's there for a minute and then it's gone. It's very magical kind of relationship.
Richard's style of working with actors is like he's such a creative individual that you don't have to cater to any particular convention, or it's not necessary, because Richard is his creative genius goes beyond that.
And the line here is,
He ain't so good. What, you really like long shots?
Like what?
Okay, no, that's really like that.
But you really like long shots?
that's what he's saying here. He's so good. You really like long shots, don't you?
Oh. Hold on, look at this. Check. Does that feel right, check?
You know, it might be better if you'll go out on stage and just make motion, because you know you can't get that out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just, yeah. You don't wrinkle your, sit down, you make your on stage because you know, because you
and then you say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Club Shalimar is pleased to present a young man who will tickle your funny bone. Ladies and gentlemen, from Morton, Ohio, JoJo Dancer.
The heavyweight lifting champion of the world, Vladimir Kokoski.
Oh, boy. You know, it's going to be very authentic, I think, this picture, but for the simple reason that when you were starting out in those days, you started in somewhat the same way that JoJo does in this picture, where he's wanting to get a break, he's very nervous, and you had the club owners who nobody was any good to them unless you could buy them for nothing or they could steal them for nothing.
Drugs are dealt with in the film, and alcohol. But underneath the drugs and alcohol, I think that I'm dealing with the demons in us. When we indulge ourselves in these narcotics, alcohol and drugs, it can mess your life up. And I find that the only way to get this kind of stuff behind you and to get your life in some sort of order, that you have to come clean. You have to be brutally honest with yourself, do an inventory. And that's very difficult for most of us because self-deception is the worst kind of drug there is.
Well, I play JoJo's first wife, who gets left behind. She's afraid to leave. You know women like that who just afraid to leave town, leave their parents, leave their friends.
I play a woman named Michelle, who is one of JoJo's wives. His second wife, I think. He has several, you know. She was a very hot lady, a woman who was always in control of her own situation from an external point of view. She was kept by a man named George when she met JoJo, and they met at this club one night, and he ends up taking her home and finds out that she's a real pool shark, right? She can really play pool. This was a great part for me. I had to learn so many things. I had to learn how to shoot pool, smoke cigarettes, and hang with Richard Pryor. It was tough, but it was a lot of fun.
Dawn is a very independent, eccentric, free-spirited girl. It kind of embodies all the idealism, false optimism of the 60s, I would say.
I'm very grateful to have worked with these actresses. They trusted me with their art, their crafts. They said, here, Richard, mold it the way you want it. Nobody held back. They gave me all they could. JoJo Dancer as a film is not a film for the Richard Pryor audience per se. People that have come to see my movies in the past have become to expect something of a Richard Pryor film. This film is not that. It's a thought-provoking, and it's insightful in a painful way. JoJo Dancer is about behind the laughs.
It kind of goes through his whole life story. He has a terrible accident, and that accident, you know, they all say that when you're close to death, you reminisce your whole life story. And that's what happens to JoJo. He has a terrible accident, and he relives his whole past in a way of kind of reaching out for a new life. He relives the past to find out all that happened, relive every moment, what happened, what went wrong, what was good, what was bad, what were my mistakes.
There like that, and then run into that shot?
No, see, I see it more him coming straight on into the lawn.
Oh,
you know, and he gets in, he comes down the street, and he comes into his lawn, runs into his lawn.
On the lawn, right.
And he starts having this fight.
As a director, for me, it was important that this movie was told in a certain way, and I didn't feel that anyone else would tell it the way that I wanted to tell it. It was so personal to me. I thought I was the only one that could get it and say it the way I wanted to say it.
Action, Carmen!
He just has such a finely tuned sensibilities, you know? He knows. When something is wrong, he just throws it out. And he's not sure why, but he just keeps going for, he won't go for what's merely adequate. He goes for the best.
If I could, I'd like to line up every director I've ever worked for and give them all one mass apology for all the times I showed up late or not at all. Because I tell you something, I've learned that the last thing a director needs to worry about is where the hell is an actor or an actress.
Hey, sweetie, go around the back, would you please? Thank you very much.
JoJo Dancer as a film experience for me will always be a success, no matter how it does at a box office. Because I worked through something with people. I've never done that before in my life. I've always been a loner on stage by myself. And I learned a lot about others and myself and picture making. And I'm grateful for that. It will always be a success.